Hello everyone, Terry Hashimoto here, and today we're going to talk about how to use pressure mapping easy on the new V1 BodiTrak pressure mapping system. In fact, I'm standing on it right now. Portable, lightweight, 8 pounds, carried it up, rolled up in a bag, put it on your golf course, wherever you want to place it. So the first rule that you want to learn is the line going back and the line going through in the COP chart. The greater the distance between these two lines, the less accuracy that you will have, the greater the dispersion. And we've taken 10 years to test this out on tour, everywhere else, on regular golf lessons, and measuring this with launch to validate this comment. So the greater the distance between the two lines, the more dispersion. Check number one. Okay, we accept the fact that the greater the distance between the line going back and the line going through in the COP chart, the greater the dispersion. So let's begin by identifying the trace. This is the easy way to use BodiTrak. If you see the lines going everywhere, that's called a scatter trace. And the easy fix for that is just to do a step drill, and that trace will all of a sudden go straight back and straight through. The scatter trace is one trace that we've never seen anybody on tour win with. The next trace that you're going to see a lot of is called a heel to toe trace, where the pressure goes directly to the trail heel and then directly to the lead toe. In this instance, if all your pressure is on your lead toe at impact, where will the ball go? Typically for a right-handed golfer, the ball would go right, and for a left-handed golfer, it would go left. Unless, if they hit the ball straight, what did they do with their hands? They flipped it over. So if you straighten out this person's trace so that it's straight back and straight through, one of the very first things that person does is they pull it either left for a right-handed golfer or right for a left-handed golfer. And it'll take a little time for their hands to stop being so active. The next trace you're going to see a lot of is a fish hook. And at this point, I'm going to bring in the notion that your toes are the brakes, your heels are the accelerator. There's a reason why God gave you 10 toes and why you have 2 heels. You brake through the toes, you accelerate through the heels. Your ankles are the shock absorber and the propulsion system. That's another notion I'd like you to accept, because it's true. And this trace is an example of where the pressure is getting too much into the toes too early. And the best way to fix this trace is the Sam sleeve drill, where you get them to curl up your toes, and the trace will be much more smooth, straight back and straight through. Okay, so now, a lot of people ask, what's the best trace? Well, for an iron, we've never seen a tour player that won a major tour event that didn't have either a lateral or a linear trace. And again, remember that the greater the distance between the line going back and the line going through, the more dispersion. The more closer you can keep those lines, the line going back and the line going through, we call that linear, the greater the accuracy. And it also works well for power as well. In addition to the linear trace, you're going to see the abbreviated trace, where not too much pressure goes to the trail side and all of a sudden it goes forward. This is a very good trace for a knockdown shot or under pressure and trying to hit the ball low. Another trace that you're going to see is the squirrel trace, where it kind of goes backwards and forwards just prior to impact. And the purpose of this video is to show you in less than 10 minutes how you can effectively use the V1 BodiTrak pressure mat to help your clients. The top 3 pressure problems that exist today are A, backing up in irons for juniors, that's my pet peeve. Too much pressure in the toes during a golfer's swing. That's typically the #1 pressure problem for everybody, including pros. And the second one, older people do not get pressure to the lead side quick enough. Too much pressure in the toes, backing up in the irons for kids, pressure too late to the lead side for adults and seniors. Now, let's just talk about the key pressure positions. At a dress, 55-60 lead side. How much pressure do you get to the trail side? Depends on the length of the club. A wedge, 9-iron, 55-60 is fine. It'll go up to even 80-90 for a driver. Now, the key pressure positions also are lead arm parallel to the ground on the way back. At that point, in addition to the pressure being fully extended to the trail side, you would like to have more pressure in your trail heel, 55-60, to counter-react the weight of your arms going forward down into impact. When the lead arm is parallel to the ground on the way back, that is also the key point in which you will be exerting maximum pressure, vertical pressure into the ground on the trail side. There are 2 times you brake. This is one of them. This is also one of the first things that we noticed with great players, is that the pressure began to move forward early in the golfer's swing, well before the completion of the backswing. Next key pressure point is when the lead arm is parallel to the ground on the way down. That will be max pressure on the left side. At this particular point, this is when you begin to brake on your lead side. The time from when you brake to impact, we call that the release factor. These are the key pressure points that you will use to make BodiTrak the most fun, fast, effective way to teach in the planet, period. In the next segment, we're going to talk about the difference between the driver trace and the iron traces. Terry Hashimoto with V1 and BodiTrak.